Yes, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Denmark, Lars Løkke, he came up with something at the end of August 2024 with a new approach to Africa. I think he went to Ghana, and then after coming from Ghana, he had this whole idea of, okay, we need to do something differently in Africa. So what he came up with was a proposal that would kind of like make it easier for African youths to come and study in Denmark in the midst of very tough immigration policies in Denmark. So it kind of like U-turned on a lot of things. So they trying to come to Denmark and study, which of course is very welcome. So the reasoning behind it is that he's saying that, well, they would like for the brightest minds to come to Denmark and then to get an education so that they can go home to Africa and lead Africa in the right direction. And then somehow that would kind of like mitigate the immigration pressure that Europe feels. So that's pretty widespread discussion all over Europe. And it's a crisis because cutting down on immigration is a solution because the pressure is great. So I understand the Western governments. So when they do that, they also throw out the baby with the bathwater because there's a lot of skills and a lot of labor that is needed that Africans can do, and so they lose out on that as well. And as far as Denmark is concerned, there's some studies that show that Denmark is a very homogeneous society, so the Danes are not so good at immigrating Africans to come and do some work, which, okay, fine, some experts say that. I would say that those are racists in disguise, that's what I would say, because, there is a black population in Denmark, a huge one too. I don't want to get into that one, that's not the point. The point is, there is a lot of criticism to the idea that the Minister of Foreign Affairs has come with. I have more questions than criticisms, obvious questions, and I don't want to sound patronizing. First of all, I'd like to say to Lars Løkke, welcome. The idea is welcome. It works for me perfectly, because I am 20 years ahead of the Minister of Foreign Affairs. My whole life has lived that way. My stepfather is Danish, so when I was 15, I came to Denmark and I was given a normal Danish education. Not normal, but a bit like, it's a normal thing to do in Denmark that kids go to a thing called efterskole. And then when I learned what I learned from society as an African, because I was a bright mind, I said bye-bye. I left HOF and I became Rasta and I did my things. So I found my own direction, what I want for Africa. So I already know what I want. So by the time I went to Africa, I knew what I want and I knew what I don't want. But I also know what I learned from Denmark and the whole thing. My life experience is like that. So to me, it is music to my ears to hear a Minister of Foreign Affairs say that. Because there are many times when I'm walking, what I love about Copenhagen, when I'd be walking from my hostel to go hustle in Christiania, right? First I passed by Christian's Ball and I said, that's where the dudes are, deciding all the shit and blah, blah, blah. I got a couple of friends in there, right? And then I'll pass by Christian's Sound. That's where I make my money. Stand there, play my guitar, and then I go to Christiania. So it's three Chris's, Chris. And I go to Christiania, and that's where I get my little weed and smoke and everything, and they would have the revolutionary talk and everything and all of that. It's one little small society, and we meet and we talk and we exchange ideas and all of that. So it's everything basically complements each other and basically reinforces each other in a positive direction in Denmark, and that's Copenhagen. So what's the point I'm trying to make here is that everything that I've experienced in this country has been conducive to the strong ideas that I have for Africa, and there's a lot to learn from Denmark. So I really don't understand what you're going to teach Africans who are already bright, because I came young, in Denmark. What are they going to learn? What are the values that you want them? Because I don't hear the Minister of Foreign Affairs even quoting any of the thinkers of Denmark that have turned Denmark into the egalitarian society that it is. The different influences have come together to create that. It didn't just come by itself, But that's what I've taken in, and that's what I've been lucky to be taught. So I would know what I want and what I would build my strategies in Africa I would know what had worked in Denmark for the society. So my question to the Minister of Foreign Affairs is, what are they going to learn when they come? Which courses are they going to give them? Are they going to learn mathematics? Because we have that in Africa. Are they going to physics? We have that. Chemistry, marine biology, anything that you can imagine that you have here as an education, we have it there. Business studies, we have it. And there's also remote learning, so so what is it? To me, when that question is not answered, to me it seems more like, okay, this is definitely a geopolitical move. What they thought that might be a good geopolitical move because of the conflict with Ukraine and all of that. So we understand that, right? Political science works like that. And then, because what's interesting to me is that the initiative for what needs to be done about Africa did not come from the Prime Minister, because I know that she studied at the university for African Studies at the university, because I've written a letter to her, right? And so I would have expected that, okay, how does she chip into this? How does it work out? Because in the absence of that, I'm thinking, okay, this is not totally thought through. Or maybe, I don't know. Or maybe the Prime Minister was also being superficial about, she was really into Africa while she was opposition, not after she became Prime Minister. So things change once you get into power. So as an African, we're there witnessing this. Again, we're the grass that the elephant is fighting on, and we get trampled, and that's us. But we have a voice, and I feel I have a voice. So what I wanted to say before was that I would be walking Christian's Ball, Christianshavn. Before Christianshavn, you come to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And every time we pass that place, I say to my friends, this time we're smoking weed, I say, there is my future office. That's my workplace. Because from that building is where Danida was paying my father's salary. All the schooling that I've had has come from that office. So I am a child of Denmark's foreign ministry. You understand? So for me, when I hear the Prime, I keep saying Prime Minister, well, he was a Prime Minister, so I should say Prime Minister. When I hear him talking like that, I feel it's the spirit of my mom or my dad saying that, Jimmy, your time has come. And of course, I want this video to reach him, and I want us to talk about what we are going to do on the ground. It's called CCSR, Comprehensive Corporate Social Responsibility. He can thank Danish institutions for the for such what could we call construct, such a what's the word I want to hear? Was it a concept of education, because of the alternative education concepts that you have here in Denmark? So I would say, like, he can thank Frontløberne in Aarhus. He can thank Kaospiloterne in Aarhus, and Alternative, which started, I think, in Aarhus. No, maybe it started Copenhagen. But anyway, it's all Aarhus people who came there. So Aarhus runs things, Aarhus rules. And basically, you can thank Aarhus, because this is a continuing Aarhus story. And we're taking this Aarhus story to Ginge, where my dad and my mom had put their final product together. My African mother, my European stepfather, coming together, their final product, Gaesa Inn. We're going to be setting up CCSR, Comprehensive Corporate Social Responsibility, which of course I will present to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I hope the ministry is preparing my office, because if they're serious about what they want to do with African youths, then I have a clear idea of what the curriculum needs to be. And yes, there'll be a lot of Danish in there, because we're talking about luminaries such as Grundtvig, who's very important, especially for Africa, and others, of course, and they're presented on my website. See? Blessed love, Rastafari.